Wenji and Sol talk about the blinking stars. Despite everyone seeing the phenomenon, none of the satellites, including Webb, Hubble, and Cheops, saw it. Sol believes it never happened. Augie demonstrates her extraordinary vision as she invented the world's finest nanofiber, 3,000 times finer than human hair, that can cut through diamond. Since she is chief scientific officer, she orders everyone to shut down the project. As she steps outside, the countdown ends. Clarence shows up, offering to explain why the stars flickered for her. At the Red Coast base in 1968, Wenji and Yang talk about how for years they've been transmitting the message. She explains that it's the Fermi paradox, as there are 100 billion stars in the galaxy, and many of them must have planets similar to Earth, and many of these planets must have developed intelligent life. So she wonders where everybody is. Wenji thinks their signal is too weak. She explains how the sun amplified the radio waves from Jupiter, so they can use the sun as a super antenna by aiming their signal at it. Yang presents Wenji's idea to Commissar Lei without giving her any credit. Lei believes it's a radical idea, as aiming a super powerful radio beam at the red sun is dangerous, considering its political symbolism. He forbids it as it could get them all executed. Wenji ignores his warning and uses the sun to amplify the next transmission. In 2024, Clarence shows Augie a security footage of the alley she was in with Tatiana, except Augie was all alone, talking to no one. Clarence then shows her how someone lit her cigarette in the footage. He believes that someone scrubbed the woman out of it. Clarence shares with her that other doctors and professors had seen the countdown and committed suicide. Jin plays the VR game and meets a man called the Count of the West and his follower. Jin chooses another name for herself that befits a hero, since her mission is to solve the riddle of the world. She chooses the name Copernicus. Together they go to the pyramid to meet Emperor Zhou. The Count explains that it's a chaotic era, and except for stable eras, all times are chaotic eras. When a new era arrives, the emperors consult great minds about the movements of the sun. If the emperor is wrong, an entire civilization will be destroyed. Just then, the sun rises, prompting Jin and Co. to hide under a shade. They sacrifice Follower as there isn't enough shade for the three of them. Jin watches as the girl dries. Count explains that the girl isn't dead, as those who dehydrate fast enough can be preserved. They rehydrate them when a stable era arrives. Jack tries the game and is astonished at how realistic it is. A woman called Sofan shows up and tells him that he wasn't invited. Then she slashes him with her katana. Jack tells Jin that the game isn't normal, as he could smell the air, feel the cold, and taste the dirt. He believes that the game is too advanced. Clarence visits his wife's grave, and Tatiana also happens to be there. They talk about the loss of their loved ones. We learn that her father was shot in the head. Tatiana walks away from Edith Marsh's grave. Jack heads home and finds a VR helmet and a card that says, "We invite you to play." Jack plays and is wearing custom skins and is transported to England. Sir Thomas More approaches him, but Jack punches him in the face. Follower is also there. Jack touches Moore's face, then introduces himself as Jack, but Moore tells him to choose a better name, prompting Jack to punch him again. Later, Will confides in Jack that he is dying from stage 4 pancreatic cancer, as it spread all over. He has 2 to 6 months to live. Jack refuses to accept that and calls Will out for giving up easily. Count tells Emperor Zhou that he has created a code for the universe, with which he can predict the movements of the sun. He shows him the code, but Jin thinks it's prophecy, not prediction. She tells the Emperor that it's not scientific, but divination, and it won't solve his problem. The Count announces that the code is complete, and explains that the chaotic era will last another 8 days, then it will be safe to rehydrate the masses, and they will enjoy a glorious stable era for 63 years. Jin puts her hand on the ground to speed up time. The Count then advises the Emperor to awaken his dynasty and let it prosper. The stable era begins and people are rehydrated. We see how their dry bodies are thrown in the water, and moments later they become alive. Jin throws Follower's body last and is happy to reunite with her. Just then, a chaotic era starts. The Count made a mistake. Jin sees as the people freeze to death. She attempts to save Follower, but she freezes and crumbles. So Fan shows up and announces that civilization number 137 was obliterated by extreme cold. She states that Jin didn't save them, but she did establish the superiority of science over mysticism. She urges her to use science in level 2 to save the next civilization. Clarence heads to Thomas Wade's office to brief him on his inquiry regarding Mike Evans. Apparently, the man likes paying for things related to anti-vax propaganda, 5G conspiracy theories, and anti-science politicians around the world. Clarence also dug up the WOW signal. He explains that in 1977, Ohio State University detected a 72-second sequence that they called the WOW signal. The scientists said it looked like an attempt at communication from aliens. No one has been able to decode it, and nobody outside of Ohio State detected it, except for one observatory in northeast China. Mike Evans lived there in 1977. In 1977, Wenji visits Mike Evans' home and asks why he is in her country. He explains that he is trying to save a species of bird. He also planted trees. Wenji reveals that they're looking for a site to build a radio astronomy laboratory. Mike refuses to give them the land and let them ruin an entire ecosystem for a radio lab. Wenji says that it isn't up to her. Before she leaves, she quotes a sentence from Silent Spring and promises to try to stop them. Later, Wenji suggests using Site 1, but her superior refuses as he realizes that she is trying to help the American. Weinin tells her about Tang Hongjin, who used to be a Red Guard. She is the girl who dealt a fatal blow to her father. Wenji heads to the labor camp to see the girl who lost an arm. Wenji wants Hongjin to repent, but the girl asks who will atone for what she has lost. She explains that the party sent her to Shaanxi to work the wheat fields and her arm was infected with gangrene. The guards pinned her down and cut it off her. Hongjin says that no one repents. Later, Wenji monitors comms at the station. A signal is detected and its coherence rating is AAA. It's almost certainly intelligent communication. On the screen appears a message that reads, "Do not answer," 3 times. "I'm a pacifist in this world. You're lucky that I am the first to receive your message. I'm warning you, do not answer. If you respond, we will come. Your world will be conquered. Do not answer." Wenji is shocked, so she heads outside. She returns and aims the antenna at the sun. She types in, "Come, we cannot save ourselves. I'll help you conquer this world."